One, if you're catching the replay, welcome. I'm Steve. Mark's around. Say hi, Mark.
Hey everybody!
Kitchen. And this is Smokey, Steve, and Mark. Welcome or welcome back, and happy Monday. Monday. The chat is not particularly full at the moment. We sent out notice that we were doing a live about a couple hours ago, and it was also a bump from yesterday. So today we're having our little chit chat. Reconvene, and I'll speak to that in a second. And then we'll have Mondays with Mark, and bump everything down like a day or so. And then we'll have a little bit more content coming in before Christmas, but it's coming quick. It's coming very, very quick. So the reason we are having a reconvene is because we weren't here together last week, and we weren't here maybe the week even before that. So I wanted to touch base because she's had a very busy life as of the last week or so, and there's a lot of sticky stuff with details. So coffee beans, Roxy, calendar, Lovecrafts, Rasco, hello everybody, GW. Didn't have as much chance to go through everything. So what I was able to do over this week was play catch-up. And the themes of what happened in the last week are not unique for Foodie Beauty. Themes of selfishness, dishonesty, wearing the face of a victim, hiding behind a religion. A lot of those things happened. It was just manifestations of that this week, and they all kind of clumped together. Also, no one paints themselves as violated or a victim better than Chantal. At least if you ask Chantal about it anyway. So, Beth Andy Thunder, hello. And so what I wanted to do was just bring it back into this is what's been going on, share with you what I've found, what's going on and what's happening, and then stolen trauma, yes word nerd. And hopefully I'm going to leave some room with this one for some interaction, because it's very well possible there's chunks of things that I missed in my interpretation as I was trying to play catch up, so I wouldn't be just, speaking about generic stuff for an hour. So, Marvelous Minds, Claudia Robinson, as I live and breathe. I hope you're doing well. And the backdrop is Christmas. It is a marshmallow world this winter at Smokeysteveandmarc. So, life has been crazy on our end. So that's why Foodie Beauty got pushed back. But what we're here to talk about is her bullshit craziness. So I have thoughts all across the spectrum. I was trying to come up with a timeline of how to kind of frame out what we were doing here over the last, I would say, 7 to 10 days, where she's had some drama involving other creators, from being on a panel, accusations, people showing receipts, Chantal, all the fun stuff. All the fun stuff. Claudia, my goodness, you are so in my thoughts and prayers. Please, if need be, log out of the chat and find resources and support. Of course, we're happy to have you here. But if you need to step away to handle something more urgent, totally understand. So the lolcow live was a panel of people that were there. And Chantal apparently had been watching this for a long time, and they knew her through Discord. So, how can I put this diplomatically? She kind of found her way in, and it didn't go her way. And she was found out and exposed, and she then felt violated and shamed. And how dare men talk about women like this, and how dare anyone talk about a hijabi woman like this, because she's extra special because she covers her head. Similar themes, crocodile tears of hers, saying that she was being mistreated and she didn't understand, and people who were showing pictures, so all sorts of stuff. So I pulled out a few bullet points, issue by issue. She was humiliated, not a victim. Very important, all the crap. Well, if anyone, if somebody was lying, or they did it maliciously, it'd be different. Malice wasn't a vibe I got. This is a good standing thing for the whole discussion. Malice and manipulation, and that was not what came from the panel that she jumped on with the creators who were there. And when some of her other people who are more familiar with her went on panel, and French Fry and Yaba, and shared some similar thoughts, that still wasn't that nasty towards Foodie. So she was getting as well respected as a person could be, considering what an ick she usually is. So, can't stay. That's fine, Jess the Elder. That's perfectly fine. So, one of the first thing that jumped out about Chantal with this group of people who she was sitting and speaking with, this panel of about 5 people, and they're regulars, and they're, decent folks, and they have rules and boundaries for participating, and they don't pay people to be on their show, to people be on the panel. So She was told, I guess it was just going to be just for entertainment. It was no big deal, not a big thing going on, and that they were just having fun, doing what they were doing. So everyone knows Chantal used to have an OnlyFans. I, and Mark, I guess, no, it's in my name, were members of the OnlyFans. For a month or so. I was curious at the time how far she was going to take it, and OnlyFans went the same way as most of her other projects. She went in hard for about 4 days, took a week off, did one more, and then nothing. And the stuff that was on her OnlyFans wasn't too taboo. I mean, it didn't turn me gay, but it could. She was topless, but there was nothing like crazy about it. And we only subscribed to get the full picture of her content, as full as it could be. And Chantal's not an ugly person. She's a bigger person, but she's not an ugly person. And with the right airbrushing and angles, she had some shots that looked good in her like boudoir-y photos. There was that. But beyond that, those were not private, as far as I can say. She felt violated. Things that were supposed to be private were released. I think she didn't like the feedback she got. She didn't think she looked good, and Salah probably wasn't happy. So then all of a sudden we're in tears. Is she being violated? Was she violated? Was it out of bounds to share pictures like that of her? She posted what they saw in a community capture. I mean, there's really nothing. She is quite the full person, yes. There was really nothing that she could have done or said to defend herself. What I found most objectionable is her self-defense, as always, because she starts shooting from the hip with insults. She'll drag people into fights that don't even belong there, and then bring up topics that have nothing to do with it. So these people haven't shown her, like I said, hostility. I don't think anyone's as involved in Chantal as Chantal. I don't think these other people care if she lives or dies. Chantal thinks she's the center of their universe now because the words have come out of their mouth. But I think Chantal forgets, like, I worked all day, and then I was at the garage because the car is having a snafu, and then after this I'm going to be cleaning litter boxes and making dinner, and none of that will have to do with Chantal. Well, maybe the cat shit, but nothing else. Cat deflection. It always. So, being a fake victim. Now, she of course broke out the BMI voice, the low BMI voice, to try to cover up. She has her public self, and then her personal self. And her public self is kind of gregarious, kind of like she was on panel, or like she has been before. She's just very chatty and social, and that's one face of Chantal. The real face of Chantal was the one that can duck behind the camera every so often. And that seems to be the one that popped out at this point. From something that went from being just entertainment to being a violation of my personhood, and then making accusations about the people who were simply responding to public information and info shared by the creator. No one snooped through Chantal's diary. No one's peeking in her windows. Everything we know about her, she told us. Or she told someone and burned a bridge and they told us. That kind of thing. Is that good or bad? It's the company you keep. I don't have too many friends that I would say. I don't save DMs for my friends in case I need to show them up later. She gave the permission. That's the thing. And then she retracted. Then later said, I didn't know. With the tears. Now, she needed the attention. So a couple days later, she started to explode. That was my interpretation of that. And she said the new her would be laughing at the old her. That she's not the same kind of person now that she was then. And so anything she did prior to 2 years ago, according to her, needs to be forgiven and dismissed. Now, just because it's in the past, it doesn't mean people need to forgive or forget the behavior. And if they saw some evidence of change, I think in Chantal, in these last 2 years, I would think they would have some trust that maybe she is a little more credible. But her behavior isn't decidedly different. Her outfit is, her zip code, latitude and longitude have changed. But aside from that, she's still petty and unhappy, and she feels like a victim. I can't believe it doesn't occur to her that everyone she encounters, she has conflict with. Absolutely everybody she encounters who doesn't kiss her ass, she has conflict with. That sounds familiar here in the States too. So as long as you're kissing her ass and look up to her, she likes you. But then if you have an independent thought, or you get caught talking to someone she doesn't like, or she thinks you're doing something like that, then she's vicious. And because she feels betrayed by small, stupid social things, she'll do what a person who feels like they're betrayed will do, and they'll go on a path, and they'll dox, and they'll show receipts, and they'll share DMs, and go the extra mile, like, because someone with a life so full, with so much to do, and so many things going on, she has all the time in the world to do this. I'd say Salah got pissed. I would say Salah got pissed. And not poor Salah, poor nothing, he's a douche. But, to Salah's, not defense, okay, Salah I don't think cares much. To the extent that he does care, it's if it makes him look bad. This made him not look great. But Salah's in a position where if he says anything, he's fussing around in women's gossip, and he has no reason to be there, and he's not a man. Or, if he doesn't defend his wife and her honor, he's not a man. So there's a few ways that Salah's going to get screwed in this, and that's a position Chantal put him in. That if he doesn't come out full swing defending her, which means he's going to have to co-sign all of her. You don't get to do piecemeal. You married the whole thing. Lock, stock, and barrel. So, just saying. So yeah, not one person she's encountered ever that she hasn't had conflict with. At what point does a person say, maybe it's me? I can tell you, for the train wreck that my life was, turning it around, to some extent, started with the idea of, maybe it's me. Maybe everyone else isn't the asshole. Maybe I'm the one who's not getting it. And maybe a little bit of change, it would change my entire social life and change the whole way I look at the world. That not everyone, I wouldn't be suspicious of everyone trying to get one over on me. I mean, she shut herself to where it's basically her food and this side of the camera. And that's it. And she doesn't have to, with anybody else, she doesn't have to talk to anybody else. She doesn't have to interact with anybody else, except that and the Uber guy. Except she's driving now. Absolutely, Beth, common denominator. And it's lost on her, which is why she's the common denominator. Because she doesn't get it. If she did, she'd try to change. She wouldn't just change her clothes. And invoking the name of Allah to rain wrath upon people. Like, that's, yeah. Because it's especially disrespectful to be disrespectful to someone in a hijab. And for men to be talking about women, so she goes in hard, trying to paint the people who are talking about her as monsters, because what married men show pictures of women like that? What married women don't take them down? Like, she wants the forgiveness of her past not being there, to act like she didn't profit off of it. And then say she's a new person now. She doesn't live like that. She doesn't live like that anymore. Did you demonetize all your videos from 2 years ago and prior, by any chance? Because if you're still getting money from acting like a jackass, you're still a jackass. You don't get to take that back. I understand why she would continue to collect the money. There had more views on those videos. That's her eating, and a lot, and a lot of that stuff disappeared when she went to Kuwait, but a lot of it didn't. So she's never going to be some protected class, no matter how much she screams and cries. I know. God damn it. She's going to be a minority if it kills her. Absolutely kills her. She thinks of herself as a Middle Eastern princess at this point, I'm sure. What I'm happy to see, and this I'm happy to see even though I don't think it's a good thing, she's driving. Okay, she's driving. Now, her car when she was in Canada was both her savior and her destroyer. It got her out of the situation she was in her house, but it was always, I don't know, like, all she has to do now is sit down and drive to the food, and it's there. She doesn't have to get out of the car. She can just go and do her thing. So I appreciate that she's had some more independence now to function in the community. I think the extent of it will be driving to fast food places. And I think at Salah's encouragement, she went this route of independence, and it was to his benefit as much as hers, because now she can go out and get the food that he doesn't feel like doing, because maybe after 2 years, he doesn't want to feel like a tour guide or a servant. He might want to feel like a husband. So while he's going to do things for them, she can do something other than just for her. She can go out and, get him fast food. She's not going to make any other stops. She's not going to make any other stops. At all. At all. And just within the last week, once we got away from drama, it was all mukbangs. The word first should never appear on the thumbnail of any of her mukbangs, because it just feels like a lie. He needs his nap so he can stay up late playing piano. She used to claim gay status. Yeah, she used to claim that. Any group she can try to leech off of. If she was embraced by a gaggle of gays, she'd be YouTube's biggest hag that you'd ever seen. Oh, honey, this, boy, that. Oh, God, did you see that? She would turn it on. She has zero problem pretending to be somebody else if it means profit. Zero issue with it. She's shown us for years. She has zero issue with it. So, yeah, she tried to claim a lot. Oh, so you can't talk about me for this? And yes, people can. I don't know how she thinks that that's more gauche or uncouth than her. I mean, making a video or going live and with French Fry Girl or with Yaba, going on and on, using their real names, talking about where they live, talking about crimes and their legal records and other things like that. What should show Chantal is that people know all this about her. They don't distrust it. They know. And they like her anyway. So why is it that when Chantal has these awful things, people aren't willing to forgive her? Why aren't they willing to let it go? Why does she think that Yala and FFG need to pay for their spouses? Chantal must think every big girl has to pay. She doesn't understand it's just her. She doesn't understand what she's paying for is the personality. She's not paying him because she's fat. She's paying them because she's obnoxious. And she can't keep company otherwise. Has nothing to do with it. Bigger people have better relationships, better marriages, but you don't find too many people with worse personalities having the life they want to live. It just doesn't work like that. At least not in this case. Not that I've seen. So, she hasn't changed. She still has drama with every person she does. Every accusation is confession. Yes, word nerd. I don't know that I've heard that so well put. But yeah, that's what it is. It's very revealing. The things that she shoots out this way and that way about reveal more about her than the person she's trying to expose for whatever. Chantal doesn't realize to normal people it wouldn't even occur. Yeah, purchase isn't an option. It didn't occur to me when I met Mark. I was like, well, I could try to woo him. I could ask him on a date. I can try to spend a little money and show him how I'm doing. Or, it doesn't mean, I wonder how much it would cost to have my company. If you don't think you're worth the company, it's sad, but she knows she's not worth the company. That if she didn't pay for it, she'd be alone. And that's unfortunate. That's sad. That's lonely. But she still doesn't get why. Unless she's as bad as it appears, that she's just too selfish to care. She's not capable of compassion. People have thrown her on the spectrum of all sorts of mental health disorders, and I work in mental health, but I'm not a diagnosing professional, but something's going on. Something's going on with Foodie. Always has been, since she started. And she'll never find out. She'll make an online appointment with an AI messenger at a therapist's office and cancel. And somehow that turns into 2 days worth of videos about self-care. And then it turns into, in the interest of taking care of myself, I didn't keep the appointment. Well, why? What was wrong with you? I don't know. I was just, BPD, psychopath, a lot of things have come out. Sociopath has been spilled a few different ways, in the most unflattering of ways. It's put out there. She thinks she's more beautiful than either of them. I see, why? Why does she think it's better or good? And why does she think if someone is more attractive, that it means they're right and not wrong? Very attractive people can be scum fucks, okay? Which also means that people that have, like the rest of us who are a little more average and roly-poly, you can see our face on camera. What the hell you've seen her picture. Why does French Fry Girl's face being on camera mean anything? It doesn't. It's a little, until you do this, I don't have to that. Because she thinks then she's going to take all the footage, and Chantal's really going to convince the rest of us how French Fry Girl really is ugly. And because she's ugly, she's a bad person and a liar. No, you're thinking of yourself. You're thinking of you. I don't know how Chantal could go on these proselytizing sort of rants with the intention of trying to change public opinion about French Fry Girl or Yaba. And when you go after people's parenting and someone's mother doing this, I'm going to bet you she gave that same "you're a bad mother" speech to her own mother when she wanted to manipulate her to get out of having to do something. If you were any kind of mother, I wouldn't even have to be in this kind of situation. You can see Chantal turning the wheels on that, and Chantal had it rough growing up. She's 40 now, so I don't give a fuck. But she had a hard time getting up there. But her resilience, part of her resilience was learning to be manipulative. And it's served her to the point where she is not interested in letting it go. So she feels like it's done more good than harm. She has a life full of love and laughter and people and success, and, you know, she couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier. I don't know. Intermission. I had to go to like 3 stores to get Sprite Zero for no reason in particular. I don't know why it wasn't sale other places. We've been going a little bit slow with transportation. The car was in the shop, and it's not costing us an arm and a leg, thank God. Everything was under warranty, but it's taking a minute to get the repair done. So we've been Ubering it, and then depending on rides from friends, which is nice because we went for a while without a car when Mark had the accident and then got the next one too. So it sucks, Roxy, but you know, that's life. Car trouble. Went in there at the end of the day because it's just a couple blocks from where I work, and to check in, and I saw a coworker there. It's like, it happens. Life happens. Sometimes it stinks, sometimes it's beautiful. But that's just passively having life happen. Good and bad things happen to all of us. But what do we instigate? What do we provoke out of the world is a different thing. Reminds me of one of those medieval devils that torment souls with a pitchfork. She has that one picture with the giant head and the little face, kind of this like Dutch Renaissance thing going on with the hair up here. I don't know. I mean, I'm not French fry girl. She is. You know, that's her gig. She's found her audience. She's funny if you don't like Chantal a lot. Like if you are, like if it's funny to you the way that she describes her life and explains everything. And I have to say, French fry girl has a tone of her voice to me that is just radio perfect. Like, it's distinct. You remember it. Not that you like it necessarily, but you remember it. So, I mean, Yaba has a very distinct voice. I still miss when she used to be on camera doing reactions. This whole hybrid YouTube podcast cam up. I mean, would you tell someone on a podcast to do the same thing? No. You wouldn't. What a brilliant prize for your 41st birthday. Happy 41st birthday, Samantha Padilla. Feliz cumpleaños a tu. Do I think BBJ is still alive? Hard to say. I can't say with any certainty. I do think that for the sake of face saving, that if BBJ died, French Fry Girl wouldn't come out with it right away. She'd try to probably come up with a response. That's a little bit of PR to do. The cat you rescued, according to most, and stole, according to others, that's in your care, is now not doing well. Now, of course, cats don't live to be 150. And, I don't know, the pictures that I've seen look better. BBJ looks better than she did with Chantal. Chantal admitted that there was poor care involved because Pete's didn't know enough to take care of her cat well enough while she was gone. So when they came back and the claws were long, I'm glad she was appalled. She wasn't. She realized it was going to put her on the radar as bad pet owner, bad pet owner, bad pet owner, and then da-da-da-da. Pete's must have not taken her to the vet. How? He can't drive. You took his money to pay for your flight, and he had no way to get around. And then come back and blame him? Jesus, God. Might as well blame your grandmother. She's as blameless. She has as little to do with you being a bad pet owner as Pete did. So, Lady Gilbert Gottfried, Jesus Christ. That's got a slant to it. She has that kind of, I don't know. But she's got a pace to her voice, a tone to her voice. Like I said, people either love it or hate it, but it's very distinct. You'll remember it. You know, like Bobcat Goldthwait. You remember that voice, too. It sticks out. Yaba has an accent, but I don't find her voice to be particularly likable or unlikable. I'm a Yankee, so I don't have as much of an accent, depending. The area of the country I live in, it's kind of standard American English. If we have any accent, it sounds faintly like Minnesota or the upper Midwest, sometimes like that, or Ohio. Our accent caresses to there. But for the most part, I don't have like a long southern drawl or anything like that. Or like a fake British accent like Madonna. Erica, hello, hello. So, you and milk teas are the best recurs because you're sparky, but not nasty and hateful. Thank you, Tuxedo. I don't know that that's you. First of all, it's not new to just be hateful. That's not new, it's not novel. If you find an interesting new way to hate somebody, I guess that's a thing, it's novel. But it's just not in my wheelhouse. Snarky, yeah. I like snarky. Snarky's good, and I'm no angel. People say I've been labeled, we're a small channel, but we've been talked about in circles as one of the nicer ones. And I would say I'm not going at her with the intention of just making her mad until she notices me. And then we can get into a fight, and then I can get some more eyes on the channel, and then she can get some more victim status as and that's not the goal. I don't know Chantal like that. I like commenting on her choices and stuff, but when the camera goes off, she's there alone. I'm here alone. Well, Mark's here, but you know what I mean. And that's the rest of her life. I imagine it's rather silent. You both are pretty... Well, thank you, Pass for California. I would say so. A little more chill. I got a lot more chill as I got older. Thing is, though, she's my age. Chantal's like a year, maybe 2 years younger than me. So she's not that... But her level of maturity is so much different. That's what I think a lot of people point to and say personality disorder, is the fact that she's just very mature in some areas of development. She's very easily hurt. She must be very easily hurt by petty, stupid, shallow insults because they're the first thing to come out of her mouth when she's talking about somebody else. And what if French Fry Girl cammed up and it was a whole campaign of love your FFG, hashtag. And everyone put up pictures of their bare skin, and we all cammed up and created a whole damn campaign for it. She'd still keep running her mouth and saying, see, you wouldn't have any of that fame if it wasn't for me. You'd have no channel without me. Yeah, but she'd have a life. Like, it's not like French Fry Girl's been on YouTube since day one when Chantal has been on YouTube. She did a whole other bunch of shit for a few years before Chantal came onto the radar. She might have been a viewer, she might not have been. Her proximity to Chantal made it interesting to people. Not that she was super close, but... And not even that Canada's close. Canada's pretty big. It's like saying, oh, Steve, you're in America. So is Nikocado Avocado. I'm like, yeah, but he's a little bit further away. He's a little bit further away from me. So... Even if French Fry lost weight and cammed up, Chantal would find something. She'd find something. She would. Easy to say. You want to talk cam up? Here's cam up. Get that fucking costume off. And let's talk about what you really look like. Because any of us could feign faith in order to cover ourselves up to our eyes. She's doing it to honor her husband that she knew for 2 weeks. Or the faith she doesn't practice. See, I can't know that she's not practicing it. So she immediately, according to her, gets the benefit of the doubt that she is. So if I say, Chantal, I'm really going to think you're not praying 5 times a day. And I answer, how do you know I'm not? Well, I don't. She immediately next thinks, well, then you have to assume I am. No, I don't. Your track record is one of dishonesty, not honesty. So, no, people don't have to take her word for it or give her the benefit of the doubt. Well, we don't have proof that she's not praying. There's no proof not. There is no proof of the negative or negative not. Like, no. If you're doing it, you're doing it. If you're not, you're not. Anyone who prays 5 times a day wouldn't be that fucking nasty. Honestly. No matter what faith they were a part of. Anyone who spent 5 times a day being introspective and connecting to a higher self would not be this much of a petty person. They wouldn't be. And she's not doing Islam any favors any more than if I, decided I was going to go be a Shaolin monk. And then talk down to everybody else who wasn't because I'm enlightened and I've become a different person. No, I've changed clothes. It hides everything and she's lazy. Beth, I'm inclined to agree. Yeah. Chieftain. I love the word chieftain. Yeah, it covers everything. She doesn't have to wash it. She'll wear the same leotard underneath for who knows how long. When she says, where's your proof? Where's your proof? Like, I need to make a thesis on demand for her to be vindicated. She's just going to say it's made up anyway. There's no point in proving anything to Chantal. She'll believe what she wants to believe. She'll rewrite history to make herself feel... whatever helps you sleep at night, I guess. But, is everyone really wrong but you? Everybody's wrong but you. I remember when I was convinced everyone was wrong but me. You know what was actually happening? I was a borderline psychotic, chronic alcoholic at the time. So yes, I felt the same way that everybody else was the asshole and not me. But you see, my perception somewhat altered by my circumstances. Now, I have mental illness. I have treated mental illness. It goes in and out of remission, such as life. Any illness is like that. Some people have it worse than others. Some have it better. Some people get sick for a long time. Some people get sick and they get over it in 2 weeks. It depends. Anything physical or mental. But I don't particularly see her as finding treatment, finding self, and being actualized. I think she just has really shallow goals. And as long as she can make enough money to eat, piss people off enough to keep a channel, she's fine. And it might not be any deeper than that. It might not be troubled childhood. It might not be single mom. It might not be creepy stepfather or the weird guy that she said she was mature to be dating. You know, she's hid in his closet. She was 16 and he was not. And she would insist at the time then, like, this is how Chantal sees things differently than others. Chantal saw that situation, her and the older gentleman. Chantal looked at herself this way. I am a very mature person. I'm very mature for my age, which is why I can handle a relationship with an older person. The reality could be closer to a mature for their age person would be able to spot a predator more quickly than that. A 16-year-old who's mature for her age is going to spot a creep. She's not going to fall in love with them. That's what mature for your age means. And so when we're at 40 and we're still running off because we hear the word love, and so within a couple weeks, running from debt and running into the arms of something, decided to leave. I don't know. I think the bulk of things with Chantal is that her intentions just are never sincere. There's always an extra ulterior motive. There's always some other little side thing going. And you can smell it. People don't like people like that. Who wants to be friends with someone who's always got something cooking? You know, or who I think if we stop being friends, they're going to tell the entire internet my social security number. Who wants to be friends with someone who does that? And it's not a threat. She's done it. You know, and it's not because anyone snooped. She's told us, I've struck this, I've done that. So, hello, Miss McPhoebe. We're a little, I know, it's 7:30 on a Monday. What the hell am I doing here? Hijab is the only thing she's been consistent with. I wonder what's the current hair situation or lack thereof. Now, she and I have about a similar hairline. Actually, no. Chantal has, well, she's kind of more all over bald. She's missing a lot on top here. And the last time before she cut her own hair and shaved her head, it was to about here. And she had one of those, she wanted to have like a big Ophelian meltdown, so she filmed herself cutting her hair. Look at that, who's Chantal? I don't know. And having one of those things. And the next day shaved her head. She was doing it to get attention. And whatever attention she was hoping to get, she didn't get. So then she had to buy wigs. I liked her better with wigs than the hijab as far as an aesthetic. I understand she says it's for purposes of religion. I understand that most people dress for their religion in that way. That she doesn't. She doesn't. It's a way to hide herself. It's not a way to express her faith. It's a way to hide her lack of. You know, like a costume. It's like Sister Act, but with Chantal. But she didn't witness a crime. She can, I don't know. Mr. McPhoebes, hello, hello. Yes, everything was bumped. We talked yesterday. Everything got bumped up a day for filming. And so tonight, instead of on a Sunday, it's on a Monday, which I may look a little tired, if you'll excuse me, but I had work today. So the face bangs, I don't get it. And she doesn't wear it correctly. If she was so goddamn worried about being appropriate to the faith, she doesn't wear the clothing correctly. She wears it in a way that's flattering to her. It's not supposed to be flattering at all. You know, that's supposed to be just for your husband when he comes home, you know, whenever he's around. Or, you know, I think now that she's going to be, like I said, in the car all the time, I don't think we're going to see her at home a whole lot. She did a few mukbangs, but she's going to be out driving, eating, because she won't have to deal with glares or looks. It'll be perceived by Salah as her getting back into making the kind of videos that make money, because she could go from a low place, but if she starts making a mukbang a day, every day for 7 to 10 days, she gets viewers back, she gets money back, it all comes with. She lacks the discipline to do that sometimes, but so goes. Only took her 2 years. 2 years, and she doesn't have any better lines than that. Gummy worm. I don't got it. But it's not for me to get it, I guess. Some other thoughts I had while I was going through all these things. Chantal getting the benefit of the doubt? No. Based on what redeeming thing? What has she come clean about before and made her peace with, to where she can say, I deserve the benefit of the doubt. If you have a doubt that I'm doing something, you should assume it's true. Why? Even for a good person, it's hard to assume. You know, it's called trust. Do people trust you? Does your husband trust you? Does my husband trust me? You know, for some people, it's a bigger part of the relationship than others. I have plenty of people I love that I don't trust worth a damn. You know, that love is in context. Her plans to lose weight, or she'd given up. I'm sure she said she was going to start over and gave up. The last couple videos, what was it? Chipotle? And then prior to that, she was having chicken fingers. Then prior to that was something else. So she went back to just the heavy eating for content. It's like I said, for whatever reason, if it's not just feeders, whatever other food audience is watching, there's enough of them to pay the rent for her. You know, she's not going to live like a queen unless she starts doing things on the side. But the head shave stream is the only time I had genuine empathy for her. I almost did. Almost. Because I had one of those meltdowns where I cut my hair. I still had hair at the time. It was actually quite emotional and genuine. Then she went straight back to attention seeking. Exactly. If she had one real moment, she buried it. She realized that real moment could connect with people. You know, her fairy stories and lies don't. Real stuff will connect with people, but that's a little too real. So she had to take a step back. And she looked fine bald. Whatever. You know, there's not as many bald or close-shaved head women walking around as there are women with long hair or longer hair. But stinking up and trashing the car, just like she did with the Kia, stealing his wallet and showing what's inside will get old with Salah quick. Very possible. That treadmill collecting dust. There was a gym downstairs. She was too lazy to go downstairs. Or embarrassed to be in public. Whatever. That gym, they were going down there at 3 a.m. to swim. So I don't know what she'd be worried about. So they installed a piece of equipment in the air-conditioned apartment she lives in the next room. And she said, if it wasn't a gift, I wouldn't even be on it at all. She's not on it at all, but at least she says that much to make it seem like the gift giver wasn't an idiot. And she's just she doesn't want to change. Not enough to do anything about it. And that leaves her husband in a certain position. That leaves Salah looking at her where she is and like, is this the same woman I thought I was marrying? Is she changing to a way that I don't enjoy anymore? Performative, yes, it's all kind of an act. And she's such a bad actress. She's like, you can tell when she talks about, like, it's like with him, we've all seen the two of them on camera and it looks like robots. She's talking to him and he looks back, hey babe, hey babe, hey babe. You can tell they're acting. It almost looks like he's smirking at the camera a little bit because he knows, we know, it's all bullshit. And he's in on it with us as much as he is with her. So, us. But when I say us, I mean anyone not Chantal. I don't necessarily mean girl world or viewers or anything necessarily. Chantal, in her mind, is her against the world. It could be her and Salah against the world, but it's not. It's just her. Her and Julia against the world. Pet deflection. Much. So, as we go through, I have a few more bullet points that I went through, and then we'll see what time we're at. Oh, the other part, we had already mentioned how she thinks fat women have to buy partners, and how that's not everyone, that's just her. If she had something like a personality, or if she had any assets as a partner in a relationship, what does Chantal bring to the relationship? Does she have, there's the nuts and bolts of it, does she have money? Does she have a place to live? Is she sort of stable? Which she's not, but Salah's okay with that. Is she an honest person? Does she have integrity? Did she bring resources? Does she bring something new to the relationship? Does she bring honesty, integrity, kindness, support, respect, diligence? Those big, heavy ones are big in Islam. Those big, heavy expectation words are rather large in the text. I would shudder to think I read more of the Quran than she had. When I had it in college, I did the class was called Intellectual Heritage. It was like Western civilization, so there was bits of philosophical texts, religious texts, mythology, stuff from Plato, all over the place. And then some of the religious texts came up in context of that as texts. And so we had read quite a bit of the Quran and the Bible and the other stuff. And again, as a piece of literature, not as a tool of faith or anything like that. And I thought it was rather interesting. But I don't think she's cracked the book. Don't think so. I think if you looked at the spine of her Quran, it would be very telling. It'd be very, very telling of what was actually going on. What was going on with her as far as her spiritual depth and her spiritual needs. I don't have to pray. I'm a woman. I don't have to get on the floor. I don't have to go outside. I don't have to this. If she did any less, it would be called haunting. So, as to the pets, of course, it's been established and said again. Chantal, Natter's next court date's in February. We shall see. And she keeps bringing Natter up, too, and dragging that. And, like, why would you invite in? You're talking about wanting to move away from your past, and you're going to bring up the guy who you had the messiest, most recent bit of your past with. So, no attention is bad attention to Chantal. She's got the Madonna method. I don't care what people are saying, as long as they're talking about me. So, I don't know. She likes the affection of pets, but not caring for them. We've seen that with Julia. That's not particularly new. She would drop everything for Nat's Mark. I swear to God, if he said tomorrow, Dee Dee's out, he'd be, Salah who? Salah what? And she'd be finding a way to use her money to take Natter away from Canada so she could have more leverage over him. Because she doesn't want to go back because they'll probably dock her salary. I guess. I don't know. If it's like in America, we get a 1099. You have to go ahead and pay your taxes. So, are you still a dehydrating madman? I am, Orange. Right now I have red onions in there. We're making up some spice packages to give away for Christmas. So I've done about 10 pounds of red onions in the last 2 weeks or so. So we still have new habits, new things. I didn't get into dehydrating till I was like 40 something. So there's room for her to have new interests. But she doesn't. She doesn't engage with anything. So, I don't know. So it goes. Now, Chantal talking about kids and mothers. This came up. Chantal will go after Yaba often about being a mother. And how could a mother do this? And how could a mother do that? I don't know. What is she doing to her child? She's not that kind of an example for her kid. If she's talking shit about you, she tells her kid to do the opposite. Probably. And she might have more of a handle on her kids. You know, maybe they don't have as much access to social media. Now, if we can't prove you're lying, it has to be true. But if we can't prove they're lying, they have to be lying. Because that's Chantalese. That's how that works. Good for thee, not for me. How could a Muslim wife do that? Mere break. I'm more of a Muslim than she is. And then invoking the name of Allah to smote thee or smite thee or whatever the hell. I'm not a faithful person, so insert religious joke here where Steve is inspired to go do anything. Volka Sindraha, the traveler has come. Stay puffed, Marshmallow Man. Stay puffed. So, she also tried to deflect the way the guys on the panel were acting. So, she puts herself outside of these other sort of things, but saying that the men on the panel who were talking about her, no man, married man, should be talking about a woman like that. Why'd you invite yourself to the party and then get mad when they, it didn't go her way. She didn't get a bunch of softball things lobbed to her. And they didn't silence the chat like she does. So there is no dissent. Close the comment section, close the thumbs up and thumbs down. I don't want even... Who hides flattering statistics? Nobody, usually. If they've never had that metric on their channel, it's one thing. Some channels never have the up and down, thumbs up things. They just never show them. She has all that when she thinks it looks good. And then it's not. It's not. So if she has so many more supporters than haters, I don't know why her numbers don't look like that. I'm not sure why. She gained about 1,000 more subs in the last however long. after she bought her way up over to like 102, so she's at like 105K. Views are dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping, and they're not changing at all. And she still seems to think that it's much more important for her to have a larger subscriber base than to have more people watching. That means she's more popular, which does not mean better. It just means popular. Smallpox is popular. Doesn't mean it's a good thing. So, I think she'll be living in the car. She'll be living in the car, I'm pretty sure. She threatened to call CPS because she's petty. That was right when I first started with Chantal. I came in right on the cusp of her lying about being vegan. And that was almost taboo at the time. Could you imagine? So silly. So what we would see later with the meth capades with Natter. So, it was a very different time then. It was a very different place. She was still with BB at the time I started watching. And it was right when she was the most normal, if you want to call her normal, with BB. Those water fasts, she was trying them when she got with Pete's because she'd be like, oh, I want to do something and lose weight. And someone would recommend like, hey, why don't you eat less and go for a walk? And she'd be like, oh, no. I must have to detox from something with grapes and lemons and fast. Like, it's just shocky shit. You know, what'll make them laugh? Fat woman talking about getting thin by doing something stupid. That'll make them watch. It did. It certainly did. So, I don't know. Going forward, I'm not too sure about how it's gonna go for her because, you know, December's gonna be over. Okay, so this is the big time of year. 3-day water fast only lasts 24 hours. Not even. It's like her cheat meal was at 5 a.m. The diet started at midnight. Lobster mac, anybody? Don't go with me, Foodie Beauty. I have eating disorder history too. I can remember food, like photographically I can remember. I can't tell you much about my childhood, but I went to a wedding when I was 4, and they served chicken cordon bleu, and I remember sitting on someone's lap while they were eating it, and I thought it was disgusting. But it was the 80s. It was the late 80s, and cordon bleu was kind of a thing. And it sticks out in my head completely. I can remember the first meal I had when I went to the rehab where I met Mark. It was really watery spaghetti and meatballs. I attach my memories to food. I don't try to do that going forward, but the old are still there. They're still going to interlock. Her relationship with food, I don't think she'll ever get it together. By the time she would turn it around, she's so stubborn. By the time she turn it around, she'll be dead of complications. So, can't see her applying herself enough to learn anything, to be honest. Yeah, she's not big. 2 years. Now, she has no intention of going to Canada. Okay. No intention of going back. So if she's going to live in Kuwait and have that at least be home base, is she ever going to learn the language? I mean, you can say you're a tourist and that, you know, you don't need to. And a lot of the world speaks English. It's second language, like, everywhere. But if she's decided to move to another culture and take that on, language is part of that. Community is part of that. Not lock myself in the house and do all of my old Western shit just with a hijab on. Still living my crazy, ridiculous, disgusting life online, just with my hair covered. And from another continent. But if nothing changes, nothing changes. You know? Like, I don't know. I could change my clothes, and I could talk differently, but it's still me under all that. Good, bad, or ugly, it's me under all of that. So, when in Rome, Foodie, it's not that big of a thing to ask. Especially because she could probably use that to communicate with people. Because then she gets, well, Salah, I don't speak I can't drive. Wait till you see he's going to get her a tutor. He's like, fine, you need me to drive you places? Here's your license. You want me to translate for you? Here's a companion. And he'll get her a woman to walk around and translate for her. It got her attention at home, and her mom hated that situation. Yeah. Ugh. Chantal was raised by wolves, I think. You know, I think often, not always, often even bad parents still do their best. They just don't know what they're doing. If Chantal's mother is anything like her, I get the impression she isn't. Otherwise, Chantal couldn't have leveraged so much power over someone who had a personality that strong. The only way Chantal does it is because she has such a strong personality. So, that comment posted very late. Make her zero grab. So, She can't learn the language or even what the markings on the road mean. Remember, she drives the wrong way in parking lots. She didn't do so hot in Canada, let alone elsewhere. But, you know, she wouldn't... It's to her advantage. It gets her to food faster. Otherwise, she couldn't be bothered to go out and even confront having to drive. Oh, it's too hot to get in the car. There's Burger King at the end of this drive. I'll drive. Yeah, she's not a cautious driver. And I think, given her status and her gender, if she has a fender bender, she might not get all the royal treatment she might be expecting as someone who, you know, came from abroad, offers nothing to the economy, sits around, sucks up healthcare and resources, and is just squatting in Kuwait. There's worse places to squat. Kuwait looks like it has its ups and downs, like other places do, but have y'all ever attempted an easy-looking Bob Ross tutorial and totally borked it? Because I sure did, of course. Yeah, I definitely have to. He was going to send Foodie and Boogie to fat camp. I laughed my eye. And she's, of course, a victim of all of this. How dare! I'll sue! I'll take legal action. You ain't doing shit. She ain't doing shit. She needs it all to happen or she won't get paid for it. She's not going to take people where she makes videos about them that get in the tens of thousands of views and stop doing it because she's taking the high road. When has she ever taken the high road? She won't take the high road if it costs her money. No, won't do it. Won't do it at all. So going forward from here, more food. She'll be in the car. I don't think a lot of this drama is going to continue on for much longer because I think this is a lot of, like I said earlier, I started to say earlier, November, December, it's the end of the year. Money's good. You know, there's some videos, usually we make, just for an example for you guys about money-wise, in case you don't know. Let's say Mark and I make a video and it gets 1,000 views. In AdSense, make about $10. About a penny a view is what it comes out to on average. Now, that same video in the spring or summer, you might not get penny a view. You might not make $10. You might make $8. So you're getting less money. You could also put that video out in November and you might get 1,500 views on it because there's just more people watching. Also, those views might be worth more money. They might be worth 1.5 cents per view. So then you have your 1,000 view video making $15. So you can make the same kind of content, but depending on when you put it up and what you do. So it's profitable to her to have all this nonsense happen now. Thing is, she's still struggling to get people to watch her because there's nothing to watch. She wants to watch someone with no problems complain. She'll always, Des, absolutely, when it comes to this time, she'll always, at Christmas, she will sell her soul to the devil for that money coming in. She blew it up. I remember she had a problem, what was it, her birthday or something? It was like a year ago. It might have been with Kalari. Chantal had her channel zapped real quickly, and it cost her some money because it was her birthday month. So there goes, any super chats she thought she was going to make off of that. I don't know. Won't be there. Poor thing. Do forget, it's not a mukbang. I need candy and soda. It's the end of the day. Because I'm the picture of health. Now here, you see me here with soda and candy and nicotine. If I were to say tomorrow that I had turned over a whole new leaf and I want the respect of someone who put the work in, I want the dignity of someone who did the right thing without having to put the work in or do the right thing. She's not capable of that. So she's not going to be able to do it. Salah, I see getting more and more distant, especially if she's driving and she can get food and sit and air conditioning and attention. She won't be at home as much. The cat's there. The cat's probably still running around heat making noise. I don't believe one word she says about how the cat's doing because she only brings it up for attention, for her. So whenever she says Julie is this, Julie is that, I'm like, you mean the cat that you totally ignored until it was almost dead? And then wanted credit for being such a caretaker for taking it to the vet. She only tries when something makes her uncomfortable enough. I thought, you know what? Once she was able to get through a flight at 400 pounds, She can make it work when she wants to. 16 hours sitting. And apparently on the last flight, 5 of it was in her own waist. To get to whatever the end is. So if there's something at the end of the rainbow, she'll make herself uncomfortable. She thinks it proves something. Now, a 16-hour flight is taxing. Very taxing. But for people that make it regularly, I don't think they need a week off afterwards when they get home. You know, Chantal's baseline is sick. She needs the rest time, recoup time, pace, and meals of someone who's ill, just because that's the pace of life she lives at. She lives as though she's at the end of her life, not middle of it. So, I see Salah being distant. I see her driving and eating. I think this drama will quick, honestly, because there's nothing new to it. It's just a bunch of new people realized Chantal's as nasty as everyone said. And they got their own experience of it, and they got all their evidence for it while talking about it. So, what did he do? Ruin her reputation? She has no reputation. So that's where I think I'm gonna have to leave it for this evening. Anybody else have any thoughts you care to share as we're wrapping up? Mark's around somewhere. Mark!
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We're just wrapping up. Any thoughts?
No.
No. He's the nice one, I guess. I always say I'm the nice one, really, but he's the nice one. Chantal brought home fleas to Julia. Might be why she's been out so much. I suspect she had brought home fleas. So, but that's not about her, you know. And she doesn't care if she has fleas. She probably already did. So it goes. You can rewatch later, Lime. It'll be here. I'll leave it up. I know French Fry Girl was up at 7, or at the same time. I wasn't thinking I'd be able to compete with her. I was just moving the time back so I'd have a little more time to review. So thank you all for joining me tonight, and thank you all for being here and for watching. It's good to get back in the saddle, so we'll be back in for next week now that we're more caught up. Please do subscribe, hit the notification bell. You'll get alerts when we have new videos and go live. Please hit the thumbs up on your way out if you'd be so inclined. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All of our contact info's below. Any of that other stuff. Thank you very much, and we'll catch up with you very soon. Mondays with Mark will be next. I don't want to tell you what date and spoil it, but Mondays with Mark will be the next video that's coming out. So thank you guys for being here. I was nervous about doing a live tonight. I felt like I was out of the loop, but I feel like we got reconvened and we can move forward from here. So thank you, everybody, and we'll catch up with you soon. Bye. Say goodbye, Mark.
Bye, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Bye.